My name is Dylan Holt, and this is my summary for chapters 7 and 8. We will begin this summary with chapter 7, which is about system acquisition. Let's start out with a definition of what this actually is. System acquisition refers to the process that occurs from the time the decision is made to select a new system until a time a contract has been negotiated and signed. Now that we actually know what we are talking about, we can speak a bit about the system's development life cycle. This cycle has four general stages, which include planning and analysis, implementation, and support and evaluation. So what do these actually mean? Planning and analysis phase is the business problem or the organization strategy. In this phase, it is important to look at the current system and what downsides can be improved upon. The design phase is when all options are considered for a new system. Can this system be designed in-house or out of house? This is where the strategy of how to actually make the system is determined. Implementation, which is much of chapter 8, has to do with much allocation of resources. This includes training staff, converting data, and preparing the organization for the shift. Support and evaluation is the next step, which begins after implementation. This has to do with monitoring and making sure resources are allocated accordingly moving forward. The system will also need to be manipulated or maintained, and this is when that is done. There is a system selection process which has multiple steps that an organization should go through. The key activities include establishing a project steering committee and appointing a strong project manager to lead the effort, defining project objectives, screening the vendor marketplace, determining system goals, establishing system requirements, developing and administering a request for proposal or request for information, evaluating vendor proposals, and conducting a cost-benefit analysis on various options. Now we are going to start into Chapter 8. This chapter is how organizations implement a healthcare information system. There is a specific process that an organization needs to go through, and it can be outlined in three basic steps. 1. Organize the implementation team and identify a system champion. Step 2. Determine project scope and expectations. Step 3. Establish and institute a project plan. Step 1 of this process has to do with creating a team who is going to determine a plan. The champion of this team is going to be a well-respected person in an organization who is determined to have a new system. Step 2 of the process has to do with the team determining what the scope of the project is and what the project will achieve. This will also be the time to determine basic goals and when to accomplish them. The last step is going to be the plan, which has a number of components. The components include major activities, major milestones, estimated duration of each activity, resources and budgets available, target dates, and measures for evaluating success. Now we are going to take a look at how the implementation of a new system is going to be affected by organizational behavior. Many individuals in an organization will have their own opinions on a new activity. An information system is a huge change which will affect the jobs and responsibilities of many employees. There needs to be strategies put in place to deal with employees and their behaviors towards the new system. Some things that can be done include Create an appropriate environment, know your culture, and do not underestimate user resistance, and allocate sufficient resources, including technical staff support. Technical support is important because we must remember this system will also affect the patients who may also have their own views about the change. Another aspect to pay attention to as a manager going through this period of change includes managing unintended consequences. These include more work or new work, workflow change, system demands, communication, emotions, new kinds of errors, power shifts, and dependence on the system. The last section of the chapter that I wanted to discuss is support and evaluation. As this system is implemented, it will begin to change and evolve as it matures. New errors and problems will arise as time goes on, and there needs to be a way to correct this. IT staff plays a large role in dealing with this, and new upgrades or patches will come out as these problems are solved. The organization must ensure that the system is adequately maintained, as much funding will have gone towards it. It is also important to understand that at some point in time, the system will need to be replaced, and the only way to know when this is to properly evaluate how the system works. This concludes my summary of chapters 7 and 8. Thank you very much for listening.